Commission public hearing on a proposed zoning ordinance text amendment, 6:30 p.m. on September 26, 2023. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Jerry Daly.
Here.
Ann Richmond. Present. Christian Howitt. Here. Wally Priest.
Here.
Mary Kogel. Here. Jan Duberstein. Here. And Douglas Raoul Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Daly.
Here.
Richmond. Here. Chanowith. Here. Priest.
Here.
Kogel. Here.
Is it I or
Aye.
here? He started it.
All right. Kogel.
Here.
Duberstein. Here. And Williams.
Here. We take those all as ayes. Okay. This is a public hearing on proposed zoning ordinance text amendment to amend section 170608 of the Village of Hainesville Code of Ordinances governing general requirements for signs. You all have a copy of the ordinance, and changes are few, but they're highlighted. Is there any discussion?
What is the 5 a.m.?
That is how late, or what, how early the sign can come up. Yeah, it'll be off, the sign will be off from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. I knew I'd get that eventually. Any other questions? Public comments. Essentially what this is, folks, is we are amending our current ordinance regarding electronic signs. We've made a couple changes in how fast the picture can change, the hours it can be on, just to make it more reasonable. No public comment. I need to know if we are recommending to the board, because we are not the board at this moment, the passage of this text amendment. And we'll do that via roll call, either yea or nay.
Commissioners Daly.
Yea.
Richmond. Yay. Chanowith. Yay. Priest.
Yea.
Kogel.
Yay.
Duberstein. Yay. And Williams.
Yea. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn, 6:32. You guys don't get to go yet. This is going to be 1 or 2 meetings. Okay, we'll move right into the next one. I'm going to call to order the regular board meeting for the Village of Hainesville on September 26, 2023 at 6:33. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Here.
Trustees Richmond. Present. Chanowith. Here. Priest.
Here.
Kogel. Here. Duberstein. Here. And Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. Chanowith. Aye. Priest.
Aye.
Kogel.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. And Williams.
Aye. All right. Clerk research. Good work.
Ruby, if you would like to come forward. We will be swearing in our new deputy clerk. So raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ruby Mendez,
Having been appointed to the office of deputy clerk
having been appointed Hainesville,
in the county of Lake. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
of the Village of Hainesville according to the best of my ability.
of the Village of Hainesville according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay, and like we do on occasions, and special occasions, we have food.
Help yourself to treats.
And the audience, you guys are welcome to join us. You're in order? Yes?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes?
No.
Okay, everybody want cookies?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, you can't take that one. There you go. Right, napkin?
They're not good. Burnt.
Yeah.
I see.
Thank you.
One of these days you gotta sit up there. Hey, girls, if you'd like some, feel free.
Yes.
No calories either.
You said somebody else.
George, you want to go into public comments again? You go into public comments again?
No, I think
Nothing tonight? Me and I have been working on all this stuff. Yeah. How do I see you? All right, anyone else? Everybody knows.
I noticed it's up on the sign.
We'll talk. Oh, just over here. Holiday Lane was built. Was it? Oh, well.
Even more, primary north and Union Square were not, but
Okay. Good enough, thanks. All righty, public comments for tonight's meeting. We have two students from Central again. Good. And ladies, you want to sit down and give a speech? Mr. Ark probably warned you I would do the silly thing. All right. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Sorry.
That was a mouthful.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. Chanel. Aye. Priest.
Aye.
Koval.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, I'll take this a moment to explain to the two students. The board gets we just don't come in here and sit and vote. The board gets a packet of this information a few days before the meeting so they can read it, call in or email us with questions. Some of the things are answered. The The agenda is posted online and present here, so if anybody from the public has any interest, they can come in and talk about it during the public comment section, which you saw just passed. So with that, the information's been out there. Okay, so we are down to reports and discussion. Finance, you guys just gonna wait?
We're gonna wait.
Okay. Public Works, Wally?
All the Tim's report, the public works is in the back and everything else was already brought up there. I just got to say they're doing a great job and continuing on trying to keep this village in the best working order as possible. How's it?
You want to give a brief update of what's going on out here?
Well, I was going to either do that on the ad hoc or do you want me to do it on this?
As long as you're going, go ahead.
Okay. Basically, what Chris and I have been involved in is we're trying to develop this area out here in front of the Public Works building. It's just been there, just an empty field. This week, we had the electric run from the Public Works building into the field itself, okay? So that we can start hooking up and maybe getting Christmas decorations or whatever, okay, out there, a display to use that area. Also for special events, Chris has got a lot of ideas for the special events that we've got going. We also set up a meeting for this Thursday. Chris got in contact with the people that, I don't know if anybody's
Coleman, the Coleman family that does the holiday lights over.
on Misty Hill.
Yeah.
They do a great display. Last year we reached out to them to find out, you know, what the cost might be and stuff like that. And this year we're asking for their help to see what we need to do to get some display out there. Not an elaborate one, but just to start, and we're just beginning this process. Another thing that was done out there was, you can see some of the dirt, okay, that was moved around. That's one of the berms that is going to be going up there, which will probably be budgeted for next year to enhance it a little bit more and put other berms in there. So it's not going to be a one-time deal that we're going to be, trying to finish this project. It's going to evolve over maybe a couple of budgets. So and we're going to do it in-house. We're not going to be doing, well, so far right now. We're doing it in-house. We might get,
We'll see how it
we'll see how it develops.
Okay.
But do you want to mention anything about what we're going to think about putting over there and stuff like that?
So eventually the food trucks on Thursday, we'll move them over there. So the food trucks will be there. There'll be a pathway that leads out into that area. There'll be picnic tables out there. So instead of crowding out this parking lot here, people can all park here without having to be stopped with cones. So they can utilize this parking lot and then just walk over to this area over here. And then there'll be other events that maybe at some point in time, maybe an Easter egg hunt, something fall, some sort of fall festival or something may take place out there as well.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Anything else on special events, as long as we're going that way?
Just to follow up on the party in the park, it was a huge success this year. Everybody absolutely loved the DJ. That was like the biggest hit of them all. I did run into one small thing, but that can be handled for next year. It was nothing major. It's just a little bit more of a management type issue. But other than that, it was a great success, and we're going again next year. So it's planning is already happening. So there'll be 2 face painters there this next year, not just one. So.
All right, thank you. Job well done.
Thank you.
Yes, all right, Georgiana, Great Age Club.
The Great Age Club is meeting on the 5th of October, this next Thursday at 10:30. We're having a speaker from Physical Therapy and Balance Center. It's an FYZICAL, Physical. And they're going to talk about their program, and the owner said that we should bring our sneakers because she might have us do some exercises for our seniors.
I don't know if we have enough insurance to cover that.
So that's, and Swelco did not have a meeting in October, so there's nothing to report directly from them. We did put a new shoebox in the vestibule out here. There'll be a better one, but at least there's something there for shoes. You need to tie them together so that they can be handled better. And that's all.
Okay, very good. Ad hoc, Doug, water, sewer, and rate review.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, I'm sorry. So this was an interesting experience, and I appreciate the mayor allowing me to help him with the water rates and sewer rates calculations. I didn't realize this, that there's, of all the villages that I looked at, Hainesville being one of them, Round Lake Beach, Grays Lake, Lake Villa, Antioch, Mundelein, Green Oaks, and Wadsworth. There's 3 villages that are not on Lake Michigan water, and being Antioch, Antioch, Green Oaks, Wadsworth, and ourselves. So everybody else is on Lake Michigan water. So I gave to the board the handout that says Lake Michigan water projects, frequently asked questions, only because to me this kind of gave me an insight into how they come up with their rates, because there's SSA, taxes, bonds, and so forth. So that kind of gave me an insight into how the difference between JAWA, which is the Lake Michigan water, it's the Lake County agency that helps with the water distribution when people choose to have Lake Michigan water versus groundwater that we do. So that'll be interesting, but we really are sometimes, we are comparing kind of apples to oranges in some instances, because we don't have Lake Michigan water, so we don't have the additional fees and cost that comes up with Lake Michigan water. So we'll have to look at that and kind of balance it out with, how we determine our sewer rates and our water rates, because we can't really compare it to people that have Lake Michigan water entirely. So that'll be interesting, and the mayor would like to finish this by October to present it to the board, and then so it can be implemented, the new rates can be implemented in the new year. I also, because I at work, we do this a lot, I gave you also another handout about the village of Antioch, Lake Michigan water. Village of Antioch has been trying to get Lake Michigan water for a long time, and some of the reasons that they come up with for wanting Lake Michigan water, there's the facts about Antioch's drinking water supply, and I thought there was some potential connection to us in some ways, not always. But for example, the village relies on 7 shallow wells and 2 deep wells. The 2006 water supply study showed existing wells were not sufficient to meet water or future supply demands. Continued depletion of the village's groundwater supply may cause serious short and long-term water supply concerns. The village must consider all options for a sustainable water source for future demand. Lake Michigan water has been identified as the most cost-effective and reliable permanent water supply solution. And Michigan water is available and is currently used by many Lake County communities. However, the availability of Lake Michigan water is limited, and if we do not act quickly, this is Antioch saying it, right? Our opportunity to obtain a permanent water solution passes by. And this was in 2006, so that's not to say that we mirror everything that they're saying, but I always like, it's great for the board to have information ahead of time and maybe look into the future if we have any of these reasons to want Lake Michigan water, for example. But we'll be analyzing the sewer and water rates and then put that out.
Doug, any early conclusions or thoughts on which way to go with our water and sewer rates?
No. No. I really got bored now this feeling when I was looking here, because I go, okay. So, for example, just one good example. Our water per 1,000 gallons, we have a $37 monthly rate up to 8,000 gallons of usage, and then $4.62 every 1,000 gallons thereafter. So those kind of variances, I'm going to rely on you to kind of like, because you've got experience in this, but I just really, I didn't want to go there and not be correct, but no, I did not.
one thing as you continue looking at this, that you might want to do that was done in the past
Yes.
was break the cost down per 1,000 gallons, period.
Okay.
And then make it more of an apples to apples comparison.
Not taking into consideration where you're getting the water supply from. It's what the residents are paying for their water.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Lauren.
I do have one question. You have Grays Lake, okay, and it says water per 1,000 gallons at $1.63.
Okay.
And then over with the Java, you have it for $17.66 for 1,000.
Okay.
Under Grays Lake.
Right.
Which one is it?
Oh, you know what, wait a minute.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, that, okay, you know what, that's probably my mistake.
Okay, well, I'm just,
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay. See, there are that's why I have the handout, because I was trying to decipher this on the rates, when they put bonds on and so forth, how it impacts the rates. So that might be a reason why.
well, like I said, we're really, I mean, in the past, when I looked at it,
Yeah.
was the fact that I just look at it, this is what they're paying for 1,000 gallons. That's it, bottom line. What are we paying for 1,000 gallons? Because I'm not looking at our overall cost of what it is to produce or, you know, to maintain the water, you know, our water system and everything else.
Right.
It's just what are we charging and what are they being charged?
Right. No, I get that. But if that's all we want to do, then we're being short-sighted because we're not looking at the data long-term. What we use now for, you know, groundwater may not, you know, is it viable going forward? So that's why I'm putting out the additional information, and, you know, I'm sure with the mayor we'll figure it out, but I just want to give you guys food for thought that this is a long-term thing with water. Water is not a short-term thing, and it's so important to make sure that we're looking ahead for all the positives and negatives of how we currently use surface water, the groundwater.
Okay, one thing to take into consideration, if we were ever to try to move the job on,
Yeah.
is the large amount of money it would take to connect to the piping. And the permits, it's a huge project that was reviewed 5-6 years back, and it's one of the things that led us to go for the development of a new well. And the reports I provided you and the board indicating our groundwater level, depth of our wells, water depth of our wells, even through the drought, it's been solid. Does that mean it's going to last forever? No. But even as you just noted, access to Lake Michigan water is not unlimited. Okay. So if you could, in between now and
Yes.
in a month, if you can look at comparative cost per 1,000 gallons. Because one of the explanations I know I shared with you, most of the board has heard before, is what we're trying to do with our water and sewer is keep ahead of the game a little bit, so if there is an increase, that increased income will go to our capital reserve funds, our water reserve funds that are used for multiple repairs that we've done, development in the water system. So that is some of our long-term planning.
Sure.
We don't want to have to go out and borrow money willy-nilly. If we can, through small stepped increases over time, keep our fund balance up.
Okay. And I'll just mention one more thing with Green Oaks that I think I had mentioned to you about, as you're saying about cost savings. So Green Oaks utilizes the Lake County Public Works Department for sanitary sewer systems. Green Oak purchases surface water from Lake County Public Works Department, who owns and operates 12 public water supply distribution systems. Just to say that I didn't realize, but Lake County government does a lot of the public works things that we already pay other contractors with, it's engineering and so on. So they are available for working with smaller villages like us, and I don't know the cost, but that's something I could also look into.
We have an intergovernmental agreement with Lake County for our building department.
Okay.
And their health department is the one that oversees our restaurants and whatnot. Our water department, so to speak, has been Robinson Engineering. They oversee the operation, the day-to-day operation, the long-term upkeep, and that is a portion of the Robinson contract that we're holding on to. Okay? All right. I know to acknowledge your statement, I know that there are other things potentially available through the county, but we haven't seen the need yet to go that direction. All right,
That's
thank you.
another question.
Yes.
It says here $1 per 1,000 gallons for sewer, but we pay Lake County or something?
Yeah, there's a pass-through, so Hainesville is $1 per 1,000 gallons used. So we keep that for our sewer infrastructure.
For
Hainesville
ours.
sewer infrastructure to help maintain those. But there's the pass-through for the two sanitary districts, North Shore and Fox Lake. And those are, yeah, that area for the Fox Lake tributary, but this one, Fox Lake sanitary. So those are passed-through. We bill you, get it, we send it out to Lake County so they can pay those two parties.
And they,
So we have enough that we bring in to pay for
Whatever is billed for the month, so when we do our billing, we see how many gallons were billed for sewer. We take that and it shows us the dollar amount, and we then issue a check to them.
Okay.
and Lake County kindly raises those rates every year.
Yeah, and not evenly from one side to the other.
No. All right, that's enough sewer talk. Madam Clerk?
So we've been doing a little bit of work on, or with our website. We've recently discovered that our current version of the website that we have will not be supported after December 2024. So with that, Mayor Daley and I, we've been in contact with Trivesa, our website support, and come to the conclusion that likely we will be looking to build a new website. Trivesa is working on a proposal that they will be sending us this week, so we will take it from there. The process will be a 4 to 6 month process, but our current website will be available through that entire process. So that's just something that may be coming down. And then I also wanted to share that we have a new business here in Hainesville. We have Grace Lake Endodontics, which opened at one of the suites at 4 North Deer Point. They opened at the beginning of September. So.
Back to the website a little bit, it's not that our design and all that doesn't work, it's the software behind it that is out of date, and we have to replace it. Accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that budgeted for this year, or are we going to try to budget it for next year?
We're gonna wait and see. No, it wasn't in the budget because we just found out about this within the last month.
So will we put it in the budget for next year, and then,
We'll have to, well,
because
we could, we'll have to wait and see the proposal to see if we have enough to cover it now, we can start, or even, they require 50% down. If we can come up with that amount, we may start and then finish it in the next fiscal year. But neither Christina nor I have any idea what the proposal is going to come back as. All right, my report is in the packet. Moving on to business for discussion only, 2023 tax levy.
Okay, so trustees at your places tonight, I gave you a 2-page handout, tax and SSA levy process and discussion. I kind of put a blurb in here of the steps that I take. One of the first steps is I go to all my sites that I need to, calculate out the CPI, look and see what you can assess for the year. Then I sit down with Mary and Jerry to go over some of the findings. And then we discuss our recommendations for the board. We establish kind of date range. So like tonight is just truly just a discussion of the tax levy, discussion of the SSA levy. Once the board directs me of the amounts that they all feel comfortable with, then at the next meeting in October, we'll pass the tax levy resolution. And then from there, you have 21 days, you have to wait 21 days before you pass the actual ordinance. You know, residents and parties to review it and so forth. So that passage for the tax levy ordinance and the SSA ordinance will be in November. So it's a few months process on our end to take care of this. For the tax levy this year, Illinois Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, PTEL, allows us to increase by the CPI percentage or 5%, whichever is less. This year, the CPI is 5%. So it means the village could propose to increase property taxes by the full 5%. But this tax year of 2023 is also the quadrennial reassessment. And that means the assessors has to take a look at what the market value for the last 3 years have been for the homes and come up with a fair assessment. Given the market increases that we've seen over the past 3 years with the housing market, that more than likely it'll be increases to the property assessed values for all of our residents here and businesses as well. During the discussion last year with the board, we had like the same situation. We can go for the full 5% because the CPI was high. The board chose to reduce it and only ask for 2.5% to help with the tax burden. We are only able to help with Hainesville's portion of the tax bill burden for the total real estate tax bill. When we asked for 2.5%, that brought in $480,000 in tax revenue for the village.
So for our new board members, it's $480,000 period that we get for real estate taxes.
Correct.
How did that compare to what we asked for?
Well, since we asked 2.5%, that came up to $480,000.
So we got what we asked for, which is rare because we don't usually get it.
It's pretty close, because when you do it, you have to look at the assessed value that the county clerk has assessed us last year when they said, okay, this is what you were assessed with. You take that figure and you kind of estimate, what do I feel it's gonna be worth this year? And I look at back figures and try to go that way, and then I calculate out a limiting rate, go through that way, and then we sit and discuss and say, okay, well, if I think we can get this, just in case I underestimate it, we can go up a little bit more on the resolution to capture it all. And we captured it all last year, and it's been pretty close each year with the calculations and the capture. With the other taxing bodies this year, we don't know what they're gonna do, school districts, library districts, so forth. When Jerry, Mary, and I met, the second page of this handout, what we discussed and what everyone has is potential calculations of revenues based on various percentage rates from 2.5% up to the 5%. What we are recommending again, we'd like just to do the 2.5%. That means from tax revenue last year of $480,000, we would potentially get $495,000, so an increase of $15,000. When you look at the overall CPI increase that we could go to the max of 5%, we could have a proposed levy of $507,000, which would bring $25,000 in additional. So when you look at 2.5% to the 5%, we're only talking $12,000. So again,
Our thoughts were, when the three of us met, was our residents are going to get hit fairly bad with the quadrennial. For example, my home value went up 21%. Some have gone up less. Like a particular neighbor I have. So we were looking to keep it low, yet still keep our revenue flowing. So that's why the three of us lean to 2.5%. Discussion.
Is there a way to figure out what that means per $100,000 of
Evaluation.
valuation for a resident?
you'd probably take this calculated minimum rate of 0.542 on the second column of this and multiply it by 100,000.
And multiply it by what?
100,000.
Let's see, let me see if that's.
By 1.2.
That's
the difference in that, went to 3.5%, how much of a difference is that going to make to the residents?
Well, overall, if we went to 5% or stay at 2.5, it's not going to make a big deal because our current real estate taxes, my house was last year, I think my village tax bill was $452. It's just such a small percent of the total real estate tax. If we go up a little bit, so mine would go up $10, $12 for the village portion. But in our 3 eyes, 6 eyes, anything that we can save for the residents is better than just pushing for our top dollar, because it just, well, as you can see, Georgia, from 2.5% to 5% is only $12,000 different. And in our revenue bucket, sure, 12,000 would be nice, but it isn't vital.
It's a
Drop in the bucket.
They're
Okay?
really doing it for the residents.
The residents and the businesses within the community, as well, or anybody that has the tax.
Other discussion, comments on that? Okay, so let me ask on a straw poll, board members, do you support the 2.5% increase? Yes. Doug, we'll start with you. It's a straw poll.
Yeah, we just got this information, so I would say that I don't have one way or another. I have to really look at these numbers and just think about it. So I don't really have,
Okay.
yeah.
Georgiana?
Yes, that's fine.
Mary? Wally?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Ann?
I guess I do have a question. You asked about
Sure.
additional discussion. Do we consider anything under 2.5? Maybe a 2% or 2.25?
We can, we have not.
We
At
did
least in
not.
our meeting.
We just kind of followed the same suit as last year, a 2.5% to a 5% increase.
So let's see, if we took it down, if there's a $12,000 gain up to 5%, would it safe to be assumed that if we took it down to 0, it would be $12,000 loss?
I'd have to run calculations on that.
Kelly's more accurate than I am. So if we were
I
taking,
don't like estimating.
let's say, I will take a guesstimate that if we went down 1%, it would drop maybe $1,000, $2,000 off our income.
And take that by the residents you have in here, what is,
50 cents?
50 cents to $1?
Yeah. No, I was just looking, the proposed levy seems to change to the $3,000 as you go above the 5%. So,
Okay.
what, in factoring for the budget, are there things that we expect as general inflation? Are there projects that we think we need additional revenue for?
We can always come up with a project. Yeah. Stop me if this doesn't answer it. Our budget development process is we start at 0 for all departments. And then we create for lack of a better term, a wish list. This is what we would like to do. And that comes through Mary and Kelly and I, where we put it all together and then see how much money we have for revenue, how much we have in reserve, and we start trimming so we can stay within budget. So whether we drop 1,000 here or go up that 12,000 by taking 5%, it's not going to change much of anything in a $2 million budget. Okay?
Okay, so structural is, I think, 2.5% seems within reasonable.
Okay, very good. So,
I'll prepare the tax levy resolution for the next board meeting. I'll prepare it for the 2.5%, proposing $495,000. So you still have time to think about it and come back. And that can be altered that night.
Doug, if you have questions that develop over time, feel free to call Kelly.
Yeah.
She's the one that can clarify this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Onward, Ms. Myers.
So the next portion is the SSA levy. So since 2018 tax year, we've requested for the ordinance that we have for SSA, $25,200. And the SSA area is the Cranberry Lake area townhomes, single-family homes that pay this portion of their tax bill.
This sole side of Hainesville Road, with the exception of Old Hainesville, pays into the SSA.
So each year, I need direction from the board of what to recommend for the SSA levy for that portion. I placed some figures on here. So our current fiscal year 2024, when we end at April 30th, 2024, I project about $27,000 to be in the account for SSA to help us with the next year's expenditures. The total expenses for last fiscal year were about $22,000. The prior was $25,000, and fiscal year 21 was $46,000. The reason for the $46,000 was there was many trees that had to get taken down in that. And that was probably, if I would have looked at 20, we would probably get some more at that point. So that was the year I had to look, because why did it go up so much? So if we look at last year, $22,000, that is mainly the burns for Cranberry Lake, herbicide,
Some trees.
some trees coming that way. So that is pretty much like a normal, not exciting year to
This-
maintain that area.
This money is what is used for the upkeep of Cranberry Lake. That was what it was designed for, and that's what it's restricted to. The Cranberry Lake Conservancy area, which does include from the gathering place, north side of the gathering place, all the way up to including Cranberry Lake.
So this is a backwards type of situation. We haven't started our budgeting process to figure out what projects are going to be performed or requested to be performed in that area. So this is where we kind of have to forecast what we're thinking and how much revenue we need help with to cover it. Now, over the last, like I said, since 2018, we've been holding steady of what the ordinance says that the minimum is $25,200.
In doing some research today, the amount per household is based upon the value of the house. I spot checked about 5 different homes, some on Tall Oak, some on Holiday Lane, some on the other streets, and the per house cost that on the 5 or 6 I checked, varied from $45 to about $92. So it's not, if we decide to raise this, it's not going to be like it's $1 out of everybody's pocket. It all depends on the value of their individual home.
One question I got is we were talking about the access to Cranberry Lake. I mean, would that also be included kind of in the SSA, in that sidewalk that we're talking about?
The new trail that we've started?
No.
The stairs down.
The stairs down into the,
Oh,
The walkway.
would that be?
It is physically located in the SSA. I was looking at doing that with village funds, because I think the rough idea at this point is that there's concrete there. We have a couple neighbors on each side who are unhappy with walkers, letting their dogs and animals do deposits on what they think is their grass.
What are we talking about?
The sidewalk from Tall Oak down to the path,
Next to Patrick's house.
the path, the stairway out
Oh, at the cul-de-sac.
at the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Okay,
make sure where
yeah.
you're going.
So my general idea, it hasn't been budgeted out yet, and I don't have any real estimates, is that I've had it surveyed, we own 10 feet wide from the sidewalk by the road all the way down. Is that we will do, part of it's concrete, and the other part is wood and stone. That we will replace that with more accessible approach. Some of the steps are big, some are small, some of the stone is washed away. and to help the neighbors put some sort of railing or fencing down past their yards that would keep people, they'd still be able to walk on some grass next to the sidewalk, but it would be ours and we would have to take care of it.
I was just looking at whether that would be an expense charged to the SSA.
Technically, it could be.
That's what I'm saying,
Yes.
so we do not acknowledge, so we have to take that into consideration.
My guesstimate is we could be looking at $75,000. That's a guesstimate from some conversation with Robinson. It's not the final bill. And if we are going to, if number one, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. If we do want to go with that project, obviously we price it out before budget time and get some rough ideas. Okay? But I do not see that all coming out of the SSA because that would, it would take the budget we have and eliminate doing anything else, and we're not going to raise that assessment that much to cover it. It would be unfair.
I don't think that you could put concrete in the,
Conservancy?
yeah.
I think it's only like the first
It's,
step, is it right off the sidewalk?
well, it's actually about 15 feet long.
Oh, okay.
We'll do it right.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the other comment I want to make is that you were saying that 46,000 was a lot of it was to take trees down. and-
Well, it was the normal maintenance as well, the cranberry with burns. I have to go back into the
The
records.
herbicide, the tree planting, the trees that were taken, that was for the year we took down the 80 trees.
Shitty trees, okay. And we still have to replace at least 40 of those.
No, we don't.
If we
Okay,
replace
it's
them,
not, it does not, there is no place, and we've had this discussion, there is no place, you and I aren't going to agree, that says the village must replace those 40 trees. We can, if, as a board, it's chosen to do so as part of the budget process. We are not mandated.
We're not mandated by the Conservancy and the Army
No.
Corps of Engineers?
No.
Okay, so, maybe we should bring the Army Corps of Engineers to have a discussion with us, because I think you remember that conversation with the email from the Army Corps of Engineers and what they required you to do.
I've seen it, I've
Yeah.
read it, and I disagree with you.
we have replaced a number of trees there. haven't we?
You know the trees you're talking about, Georgianne, where those little small trees that are all dead now?
No, you're talking about the little ones that have the fencing around.
Yeah, they're all dead,
No,
basically.
those are not the trees I'm talking about. The trees that I'm talking about are ones, in fact, there's one by your house that,
That's dead. There's one that's
We
dead there
put
too.
40 trees in of 1 to 2 inch caliber.
yeah, they're not the ones that we put in, that the kids put in.
So,
Little bitty things.
We have some options. If the board, and it's the board's decision, not mine, if the board wants more trees in Cranberry Lake, we can budget for it. But don't forget, we represent the village, not just Cranberry Lake residents.
Well, that doesn't belong to us. That belongs to the whole village. The this is the thing that people think that Cranberry Lake is just for people that live here. That's for all of Hainesville. So whatever's done there is done for the east side and this side, because everybody uses Cranberry Lake.
How many trees have we planted in the rest of the village?
I'm not sure.
Hundreds,
Okay.
okay? So I'll leave it up to the board.
Just to throw this in, I have a native backyard, and I am forever digging up little baby oak trees that grow everywhere in my backyard. So I'm sure that that same amount is flourishing in Cranberry Lake area, which is what we're expecting to have happen, that nature will be putting in trees just by the way that acorns form.
So that's no guarantee that they're all going to grow. So are we going to tell that to the next generation of
There's
taxpayers in
never-
Hainesville?
There's never any guarantee that tree is going to grow.
Mayor, we have, you know what? Hold on, Georgianne, I'm having a conversation with the mayor, please.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
This is not a place to express anger with volume.
Okay, well then,
No, time out. We'll listen to you. You'll have a chance to do it in a polite manner.
you know why I get upset? Because you don't listen. It's either your way or the highway. That's how it is with you.
I'm sorry.
This isn't even,
This is not.
We're having a discussion. This is a proper discussion for how we're spending money and not spending money, Mayor. We had a tornado in 2015. You said we don't need to replace that. He goes, I don't see why I would need to replace it. You told me that. How many trees
I
came
wasn't-
down?
I wasn't the mayor.
It doesn't matter. You became the mayor and those trees still, you told me you didn't want to replace them.
But we have.
Okay.
No, we have not.
Yes, we
You have that
have.
whole strip down by, next to your house and going down that way.
This discussion is out of order. If you wish to, when we get to budget time, or if you wish to throw into consideration now that we increased assets, so we can put more trees in, or handle some during the regular trade, do so during the budget time. This is a discussion on the topic of what do we suggest we levy for the
This is
SSA.
why I'm discussing it.
Do you have a suggestion?
Well, we still have to put in 40 trees.
You have heard any other comments on that, or do you have anything other, sir?
I think that we should do the 27, whatever, because there are increases that we've seen all over and everything else in our lives. I haven't talked to Dave, but I don't think we have any major things planned for this coming year. I will talk to him and see if there's something that he wants to look into for doing the following year. I know that we've talked about doing something over at the Hainesville Meadow, but that doesn't have to be something that we do this coming year.
Georgiana, the 27,000 is projected amount left in the account at the end of this fiscal year.
Oh, we have that already.
Projected for the end of this fiscal year.
Okay, so then.
So we're required to do 22.5,
25 to.
25 to.
Okay, so if we have that amount, then the 25.2 would be, I think, fine, to just keep it the way it is. Because that'll give us some extra money in case we want to do something over the Hainesville Meadow.
Any other thoughts or comments?
So 25.2 is the minimum amount that we're required to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is since 2018. Have we done higher amounts in the past?
And Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong,
It's all
we were
lower.
lower at the time, and then we're made aware that we weren't meeting the ordinance. So we had to raise it to that 25.2.
Is there a cap on the amount?
I don't think so.
I'd have to refer to the ordinance.
It was originally like we were doing $10 a household, and then we realized that we can't do it that way. It has to be based on the value of the house. And that's when we came up with the 25.2.
And I believe you know that the SSA levy only affects the folks on your side of town.
My house is about 70 gallons worth, so,
Mayor, what we can do, because this is discussion for the SSA, they don't have to produce a resolution to be passed for this portion at the next meeting. We could put this for further discussion on the October agenda, because then I'll have the two ordinances for the November. So at that point, I could answer, is there a cap within the ordinance? And then the trustees can review some of the potential costs to see what we want to do.
Is that agreeable?
So what does David Eubanks do for us entirely? Does he make decisions on how many trees we should put up and he recommends it to you? I'm just saying in general.
No, he does not make a recommendation.
What does he do? Because I look at the bill, I mean, he does a lot, but what is it that he's really here for entirely? The burns and blah, 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 and so forth?
He does all the landscaping for the village, the weeding, replanting.
The medians,
Yeah, all the medians.
the burns, pesticide, or herbicide from around Cranberry Lake.
And he chooses the trees that go up, the
He doesn't
diameter and so forth?
Yes,
He's had input on it, but I don't know. Georgine, help me on this one. Has he planted any of them?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think he does,
I
yeah.
think the
okay.
first year or two after we had lost all those trees, I thought he put in 20 of them each year.
We did put in 40, but I don't know if he did all 40 or whether we had someone else at the time.
I
I
think
just don't
so.
recall.
I think he did.
All right. Any other thoughts or comments on that? I need a motion for an ordinance amending section 1706080 of the Village of Hainesville Code of Ordinances governing general requirements of signs. This is what we just discussed at the public meeting.
So moved.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Discussion?
I agree.
Roll call.
Trustee Richmond. Chanel. Aye. Priest.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
Duberstein.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Ordinance number 23-09-350.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7:25. Mr. Williams, if you have a moment, I have to take a picture with a couple students, and if you have time, we'll talk to you, please.
I don't have time.